I just had to make sure my Britton Covey conversation that I'm having with him right now. You'll have to hang on for a second. And by the way, he may call during the program, and not to show his number, but Britton's having a conversation with me right now. So, because I posted something about him opening his mouth again. And by the way, I don't know if I have a problem with what he's saying, but what I don't want him to do is walk it back like he did with the Barrett Brooks comments. If you say something, stick to your guns. So hang on, I'm still talking. Hey, hang on. Oh, I sent him a nice picture of his college coach, Kyle Winningham, who I'm dear friends with, as you know. Just so you know, the Eagle people listen to me. They listen to the program. And it's pretty interesting and pretty crazy what he said about what happened down the stretch of the football team and the Eagles' meltdown. Players and coaches disconnected. They just absolutely disconnected. And at the end of the day, that's kind of what everybody's been saying. Okay? Protect Covey at all times. Look, man, if you say something, stick to your guns. That's all I'm saying. If you said that the players and the coaches had a troubling time together and that they couldn't connect, at the end of the day, this is a Nick Sirianni thing. Why in the world are you bringing that guy back? Okay? Why are you bringing Nick Sirianni back? Why? Why are you bringing him back? If he could not stop the mess, he had no answers. Do you really believe that that head coach is going to right the ship this coming season? Dude, this is really troubling. Man, I don't care what kind of coordinators you have in the building. You got a guy in the building that doesn't belong in the building. Man. And now you have a coach who's dead man walking. That's who Nick Sirianni is. It's dead man walking. It's just, it doesn't make sense. I'm going to give you my Super Bowl prediction. I'm going to talk more about what I listened to. And Britton's in Vegas at Radio Row right now, or we would have talked earlier. We're going to talk around 4 p.m. Eastern or Pacific time, which is 7 o'clock your time. We're going to have a conversation. I'm not really going to go after him, but I'm going to go after the environment that Nick created in the building here in a second. But before we go on, I got a note here that I want to make sure that I get to every other sports league outside the NFL. NBA, why would you have your trading deadline during Super Bowl week? You see the NFL Honor Show last night? How awesome was that? Big production. All the NFL stars were there. The commissioner was there. All of that was spectacular. Hey, dude, has Major League Baseball released their awards for MVP and Gold Glove? Have they done that? Have they done that? Has Major League Baseball? I mean, who was the MVP this year? Who won the MVP in baseball? Tell me. Um, who won the most valuable player award in Major League Baseball this year? Has to be Shohei Ohtani. Was it Ohtani that won it? Did Shohei Ohtani, did he win it? Okay, thanks. When did that come out? 2 months ago? 3 months ago? When did that thing come out? A month and a half ago? Ohtani and Acuna. Okay. All right. Oh, okay. Thanks for telling me. I didn't know. NBA trading deadline, Super Bowl week. Here's a note to you guys. Why in the world would you ever compete against that juggernaut that knows how to work a sports calendar? Here's the NFL. Regular season, trading deadline, postseason, Super Bowl, free agency, the NFL draft, OTAs and combines, camp, NBA, Major League Baseball, God forbid the NHL. Do you guys know how to work a sports calendar? Do you guys know how to work it? You need to listen and follow along what the NFL does here because they know how to use a calendar. The NFL has this thing so scripted out. That was great last night. Congratulations to Lamar Jackson, the youngest man to win 2 MVP awards. Congratulations. I was kind of shocked Dak was second. All right, Cowboys and all that. Dak did have a great year. Hey, he's got something in common now with Jalen. He finished second in MVP voting. That'll help him, I think, in contract negotiations. Jesus, criminy. The NBA has their trading deadline Super Bowl week and during media week. You can't be any stupider. See, the NBA still thinks they're a player in sports when it comes to sports broadcasting. You're not. When it comes to the NFL, dude, you're not. Right. WWE has more people caring about their sport than the NBA. Especially when you got to put little bylaws in if you don't play 65 games. You can't win an award. You got to do that to make your players want to play. Dude, you talk about a lazy sport. The NBA is a lazy sport. They're lazy in how they present it, and they're lazy how they play it. That's why fans in America, in middle of America, don't like the NBA. That's why ratings have tanked. That's why they have to rely on China for economic dollars. That's why they have to rely on cable. The NFL doesn't have to do any of that shit. You know the one thing about the NFL? They don't promote one star. They promote the league. Like, you don't wrap yourself for Patrick Mahomes may be the face of the league, but they could live with him or without him. You think get this, all-time ratings this year. Think about this, Tone, everyone. All-time ratings this year. The year after Brady retires. What happens when Jordan and Kobe and LeBron retire? The NBA goes in the tank like golf does when Tiger was out. The NFL had all-time ratings when the all-time greatest player in the sport left. Dude, they don't need anybody. They don't need anybody. Not one player runs that league. So get this, when you say who's the face of the NFL, there isn't one. That's the hidden gem of the league. They're not relying on one guy to carry the league like Jordan. Nobody cares. Tom Brady, big deal. Peyton Manning, big deal. That's right, Hollywood. The Shield is the face of the league. The Shield. And the biggest sporting event in America Sunday. Super Bowl Sunday. I'm going to do the game first because I'm really pissed off that the Eagles brought back Nick Sirianni, especially after hearing Britton Covey talk about it and so cavalierly talked about it. And get this, anytime you make a comment and you're a Philadelphia Eagle, and it has something to do with your teammates or your team, you could be talking between two cups and a string in Anchorage, Alaska. It's going to get picked up, son. It's going to get picked up. It's going to get picked up. Not smart. Not smart at all. Again, I'm looking for, by the way, maybe it is smart. I'm looking forward to talking to him later on. I am. By the way, I've got he said just like me, he's got no ill will towards me, nor do I towards him. What I don't like and what I didn't like was him calling and making reference to potentially Barrett Brooks being a liar. Barrett's my friend. That was maybe more my issue. Okay? We're going to talk. I'll give him exactly everything he has to say, and I'm looking forward to it. Let me get to the game first. Let's start you out here with this. Who do you like Sunday? Tell me you don't think this game looks exactly like Super Bowl 58. Don't you think this looks like Super Bowl 58? With the 49ers having the best roster. And there's Kansas City again. With the lesser roster in another underdog situation. Doesn't this look like the same thing as last year with the Eagles taking on Kansas City? No, Q, Covey's not coming on. We're going to ask him if he would like to come on next week. I'd love to have him on. I'll ask him. He direct messaged me and wants to talk. And I said, I'm open to talk. I have no problem. By the way, I have no problem talking with anyone. Anyone wants to talk to me? Bob Lang called me. Let me know how he feels. And I flat out told him, okay, you're not going to change my opinion on your GM and how your GM operates and what I think of your head coach. And he was like, whatever reasoning, thinking that he was going to change my views and my opinion because he thought about accessibility. Well, this just in, Darius Slay, Britton Covey, coaches all reach out to me. I don't to them. I don't reach out to them. You know, I guess because I'm a former player, there's a comfort level in listening to me and also knowing full well I'll give them an ear. Okay? I guarantee you that's it. Because I'll always give an NFL player the benefit of the doubt when it comes to clearing the air. Okay? Let me get to the game first, and we'll get back on that topic, I promise. 49ers versus the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday. Here's my takeaway. The 49ers cannot let Kansas City get out to a start, and they cannot get and let the Chiefs score first. They can't let those guys get into any kind of rhythm. You can't let Mahomes get into a rhythm where he feels comfortable in the pocket. You have got to get home. That San Francisco 49er defense has to show up, and the front four has to show up big. They have to show up. If they don't show up and that guy throws in rhythm, that thing is going to be a fourth quarter game, and in the fourth quarter, the Kansas City Chiefs will win this thing again. Like they did to you the first time you played them in a Super Bowl. They will do it again like they did last year when they had to play the Eagles. Mahomes will make a play when he has to make a play. You can't let this game get into the fourth quarter. San Francisco has to score first, and they have to be physical with them. You cannot let Pacheco get going. If Pacheco gets going and that offense has a third person that's moving the sticks for them, San Francisco's defense is going to be held accountable for this loss, because if Pacheco, in my opinion, I think he's the wild card in this game. If that guy rushes for 120 yards in this thing's over. Kansas City wins this thing, and they could win it by 10 points. You cannot have Pacheco getting off in this ball game, okay? There's only really 2 stars in this game. If that guy gets over 120 yards, Kansas City wins this thing by 10 points. Can't happen. Purdy can't turn the ball over. Mahomes can. You see, the problem between Mahomes and Purdy, Mahomes can throw himself out of trouble. Purdy can't. He doesn't have the comeback capability. I liked it in the NFC title game. First time they showed a little bit of comeback capability, they did. They came down or from behind against Detroit. They got it done. But Purdy has not been in that environment that long like Mahomes has been in that environment, and Andy Reid. You cannot let Kansas City in any way whatsoever. If he has a clean game, Mahomes has a clean game, and Purdy turns that ball over, Kansas City wins the game by 10 points. Steve Wilks versus Andy Reid. Steve's got to get pressure on Mahomes. Got to move him around in the pocket. Got to keep that guy contained and setting the edges. Double teaming Kelsey. You have the people to do it with those linebackers and Fred Warner. You have to be physical with Travis Kelsey. You have the guys to do it. They've got to be physical with Travis Kelsey. Fred Warner, Greenlaw, those guys, stay on his ass. Because if he gets going and Pacheco gets going, 10-point win. You got Kyle versus Steve Spagnuolo. That's going to be another interesting matchup. Spread you out. Dude, I want to see how they're going to try to get Deebo Samuel open in this ball game, because Deebo getting open and McCaffrey getting open underneath, and you got Kittle and you got Ayuk. Holy cow. I'm going to do something again. Guys, tone, everyone, here it is again. 28-21 San Francisco. They're just too good. If that team, Kansas City, beats the 2 best rosters in the last 15 years in Super Bowl play, Mahomes is in that room now with Montana and with Brady. Because the last 2 years, the 49ers have Hall of Famers on that team. Trent Williams is going to the Hall of Fame. George Kittle has a shot at being a Hall of Famer. Fred Warner has a shot at being a Hall of Famer. Christian McCaffrey has a shot at being a Hall of Famer. Dude, if that kid wins that game and he wins his 3rd Super Bowl, I'll tell you something. Andy Reid and him could be the best quarterback signal caller head coach since I would say Bill Walsh in Montana. Be incredible. Just utterly incredible. Incredible. I know the conventional wisdom is, Sills, are you really going to go against Mahomes? I know. I'm looking at the better talent. 49ers can't make mistakes, and their defense has to show up. It has to show up. Can't show up for 30. You can't play. If you're San Francisco, you cannot play like you did in that Detroit game. Kansas City will run you off the field. You cannot do that. Okay? I'm looking. Brock Purdy wins this game. Brock Purdy will be the most accomplished quarterback in the NFC if he wins this game. 2 NFC championship appearances, a Super Bowl, potential Super Bowl MVP. Was in the conversation this year for most valuable player. It'll be 5-1 in the postseason. There'll be no more things to be said about Brock Purdy. All the narratives go away. They go away. With 1 win in Brock Purdy's resume, Brock Purdy could do as much for himself and his resume as Patrick Mahomes can do for his growing legacy. You see, we're talking about resume versus legacy here. He's going to add or subtract to his legacy, Patrick Mahomes. Brock Purdy is building a resume to get the legacy. In 2 years, he could be one of the most accomplished quarterbacks since Tom Brady in 2 years of play. That's saying a lot. What quarterbacks do you know have gotten to 2 conference championship games as starting quarterbacks in their first 2 years? Can you name me one? I mean, can you name me one? And Mahomes? Wow. That's quite a legacy that you're starting to build. Mahomes? You see the names you're mentioning? Okay. You're starting to talk about Hall of Famers. Hall of Famers with 1 win and a bag of money around the corner. Okay? See Slagger here? He has no respect for legacy in one's resume. He thinks it's kissing someone's ass when someone does something great. Why would anyone think that? Don't you reward and root? Or are you one of those assholes who sit back and go like this? Well, man, kissing his ass. Well, wouldn't you kiss the ass of somebody who got to 2 conference title games and won a Super Bowl for you in your second year starting if he was in your city? Makes no sense to me when people talk like that. You see, I have no, it was funny. I was just telling Tone this. I don't have a passion for the Eagles. I cover them. You do. I have more of a passion for the Eagle fans and your community than I do your team. That's why I can objectively look at it. You can't, no disrespect, and I love you to death, Tone, and you know that. But at times when you have that kind of love for something, you're impartial to some things when it comes to not going all the way there. Because you know why? You have a great love. That's nothing wrong with it. But I'm impervious to that. I don't give a shit about it. That's why I cover your team the way I do. You may not like some of the words I use. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. And that's why I cover your football team, and that's why your players reach out to me. Your players reach out to me. You know why they reach out to me? Because they speak truth. I got a guy reaching out to me that's on your team. I didn't reach out to him. I'm not looking to be buddies with anybody on your team. I think that sometimes clouds it. Reggie goes, do they what? What are you talking about, Reggie? Do they, though? Reggie, I just showed you Britton Covey reaching out to me. And wants to talk to me at 4 o'clock Pacific time. I just showed you the DM. Darius Slay. I've shown Tone to Darius Slay comments. He reached out to me too. Clint Hurt is a dear friend of mine, your D-line coach. Again, this is not about backslapping. This is also a testament to you who come here every day. You understand that? This is a testament to you also. That not only do you come here, the players come here, and the coaches come here, and the front office people come here. Angelo comes here. Des goes, I didn't see any DM. Des, you can rewatch the show later. I'm not doing something just for you. You missed it then. So let me get into the comment here. I'm not going to kill Britton Covey. for his comments that he made on somebody's show. What I am going to do is kill the Eagles for bringing back the coach when everyone knows now he lost complete control of his football team. I have never in my life seen anything like it. And I got on the show the other day with Bill Colarulo, and Bill was fighting for Nick Sirianni. And you had a player on Radio Row, Super Bowl week, saying that there was a disconnect between the players and coaches. And basically, if you read through the tea leaves, nobody could stop it. And you brought him back. Why? Why? Explain that to me. Why? Why? Now I know why Cliff Kingsbury didn't get the job. All of this now makes sense. They don't want to win a Super Bowl. Not at a coach's wishes. This makes more sense why you fired Doug Peterson. This all stems to that. This stinks. People in that building can't do their job because they're not allowed to finish the job. Do they hire quality guys? Yes. Do they bring in good people? Yes. Do they do a fabulous job at cap manipulation, contracts? Yes. But you know what you don't do? You don't let people who you hire finish the job that you hired them to do. And that's why you fall short. You'll never win a Super Bowl. And Jalen Hurts will never live up to the ability that he has as long as that ass clown is your head coach. You're hurting him. You're destroying Jalen Hurts the same way you're destroying or you destroyed Carson Wentz. Just different. Both players are different. Yep. Same result. Can't get out of the way. You can't get out of the way. What a shame. Phew. So let's do this. Do you really believe that Nick Sirianni in 2024, what does he have to do to win back respect in the locker room? I agree with you. I'm awake or you. I'm with you on that. Okay? But here's the difference. I'm awake or you is right. Carson destroyed himself. Yes. Carson didn't have the talent around him offensively that Hurts has. He had none of that. The year he threw for 4,000 yards, there wasn't a guy. What was the number? Who didn't have over 500 yards receiving on the whole entire team. And he still got it done by throwing for $4,000. He never had the talent. Hurts has the talent, the O-line. He's got all of that. That's what's troubling here. You know what he doesn't have? Leadership around him. This is the problem. This is more detrimental because you're helping the kid, and you should have did this for Wentz. But okay, that's past. But let's not repeat the past. Alshon Jeffries, are you crazy? That guy was kind of good. Zach Ertz, great tight end. Dallas Goedert, kind of a good tight end too. Aguilar and Alshon Jeffries versus Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. Don't embarrass yourself, Gerard or Jared. Don't embarrass yourself. You're trying to tell me Alshon Jeffries and Eslin Aguilar versus Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. Really? Give me a break, dude. Not in the same room. Okay? Your condescending tone when you're hype. Dude, get over yourself. Be a man. You don't like anybody talking to you like that? Grow up, slagger. Soft-ass snowflake. Oh, I don't like anybody talking to me like that. Because you're a snowflake. That's the, hey, hopefully you get a guy in the room. That's right. There's no better combo you've ever had in team history than AJ and Devontae. Absolutely. You've never had anything like it. Nothing like it. Okay? Yes, sir. That's it, Slagger. Hang in there, kid. Hang in there, brother. Don't worry about it, big boy. You sit back and listen. You'll be all right, candy ass. I like that candy ass, Gabe. Yeah. Yeah, you know what? Here's Alshon Jeffries, too. You know why I hate that dude? Psst, psst, psst. I like Nicky Foles. Carson Wentz is a stupid guy. He's no good. Hey, dude, you're paid to catch the ball, not be a clubhouse politician. Catch the football, kid. Once you try to do that. Oh, wait a minute. You dropped it in New Orleans. Good job, kid. Hey, you know what? I'll always look at that guy and go, if you loved your boy so much, you better catch that football in New Orleans. Oh, you couldn't? Oh, okay. How you doing, bro? All you had to do is make that catch. Think about this. If Alshon Jeffries makes that catch, he sends Wentz on the trade block. If he loved his boy so much, you'd be in your second NFC championship game, and Wentz would be traded. Them clubhouse politicians. You always love them when they fail. Yeah. Hey, Flexin. He catches that football. It's Foles' team. Okay? He does, man. Let me get back to your boy, Spider Rico Sirianni. Damn, dude. Is there anything Sirianni can do to win his team back? Win? Okay, let's see. They won 11 games. Is there anything he can do to win his team back? What can he do? According to everybody, he lost the entire locker room in the second half of the season. Is there anything he can do? Okay? Anything he can do to win his team back? Anything. Like, what are you doing in the offseason here? What are you trying to accomplish to win your, I don't know, to win your men back? If you can't answer this question, and if you can't answer this question, guess what? Why did you bring them back? God dang it. The Eagles have imploded by allowing this guy to stay. This is a cancer. This is a cancer. You fired everybody, brought in all new except the cancer. So when shit goes sideways this year, and it will, who are the players going to again? Do you understand? Do you guys understand what I'm saying after listening to Britton Covey talk? You don't have a problem solver in the building when shit goes bad. And it does always. This is why you can't win. I'm sorry, guys. Jalen Hurts winning a Super Bowl? Changing Jalen Hurts the way they want him to look? No leadership in the locker room? That's how I see it. But you know what? If you listen to some people in Philly on them sports talk radio stations, some people even on my own channel, you would say everything is kumbaya and I love everything the way it looks. And you go like this, what are you looking at? It's funny, man. You know, when people ask me a question about Sirianni coming back, I'm like, why? 667. Dude, 667. He's a byproduct of what's been here and a great roster that you had in 22. That's it. He's not a byproduct. He didn't bring a culture in. You think Nick Sirianni added anything to the culture of the Eagles? No. From where? Indianapolis? Where did Sirianni get a culture? Did you ever ask yourself that? You know, Nick sets the tone, and you'll hear it even on my post-game show sometimes. You'll hear it on the post-game show. You know, Sirianni sets the culture. No, he doesn't. Sets the culture. Ask Britton Covey that. Sets the culture. The culture was a nuclear meltdown from week 8 on. Sets the culture. What culture? This guy's a front runner. Damn, dude. You know what? Now that shit's coming out. Now that stuff is coming out. This was a absolute internal meltdown. And it didn't need to be, but you didn't have any strength in the locker room. This is the fundamental flaw that Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman have when you have control of the assistants and also the head coaches. Can I tell you why there's a massive shift? And you know what? Remember when I told you guys this? There's either going to be a pivot or they're going to stay the course. I think they've pivoted. You know why? These assistant coaches, they've basically hired 2 new head coaches. And I think Vic doesn't really care who the assistants are. I think he kind of cares because there's a lot of experience. But the offensive guys are still being run by the front office. You think Kellen Moore's hiring all these assistant coaches? Queensberry wanted to. They didn't want to let him. But they're going more experience instead of nobodies. They went 2 years in a row with nobodies. Nobody knew who Shane Steichen was, or nobody knew who Jonathan Gannon was. Go back to you guys talking about when those guys were initially hired as coordinators. Who are these guys? Turned out to be pretty good. Well, the following year turned out to be awful. Look at the dynamic that you had. 2 good hires, 2 horrible hires. Result in what? I'm still not sure if you're a good hire guy when it comes to coordinators. I mean, I think the offense is still run by the front office because you know why? They don't want Jalen Hurts to be 22 Jalen Hurts. Let me ask you this. Lamar Jackson won the MVP last night. He is the youngest man to win 2 MVPs. Hey, dude, you're 2-4 in the postseason. You're now turning into James Harden. I mean, you're great in the regular season. You're going to put up a lot of points. You're going to win scoring titles. You're going to win an MVP. You're going to look great. You look like Russell Westbrook. Get in the postseason, you don't do shit. I mean, he's Russell Westbrook. Am I wrong? When you're 2-4 in the postseason, you're Russell Westbrook and James Harden. Are you not? Freaking Brock Purdy's 5-1 or 4-1. You got to win, dude. You're 2-4. I don't care how many regular season most valuable. Hey, you want to hear this? Aaron Rodgers has more MVPs in a regular season than Tom Brady. Congratulations to you, Aaron. I guess. This is about winning championships, not about going 667 in 3 straight years in the playoffs and having a better win percentage than Dick Vermeil and trying to sit here like assholes telling me that Nick Sirianni's a better coach because he has a better record than Dick Vermeil and Doug Peterson. That's not how it's looked at. Doug Peterson is a problem solver. And you guys are like this. Well, Sills, the Jacks kind of melted down. Yeah, their quarterback had a shoulder injury the last month and a half of the season. And let's not take out of context here. It's Jacksonville. Jacksonville, who traditionally picks at the top of the draft for decades. It's Jacksonville. That's why I give a guy like Joe Burrow insane kudos for not wanting to not play in Cincinnati. Cincinnati and Jacksonville are better than Miami and the Raiders. And when I was young, those two teams were the gold standard. And Pittsburgh. Cincinnati and Jacksonville are just as good as Pittsburgh. Since when? Because of coaching. You got to love people saying Lawrence is a fraud. I'd worry about Hurts first before I start calling anybody a fraud. And remember, when you go into the AFC, you have to go through the gauntlet of quarterbacks. There ain't no gauntlet of quarterbacks in the NFC. You got overachievers in the NFC at quarterback. Purdy, Jalen, Dak, Cousins. All those guys. Goff, who was fired in L.A. Albeit a first pick. That means a lot, for sure. But the majority of the quarterbacks in the NFC are overachievers. I mean, think about it. That's right. You keep the 667. According to some will keep bringing that up, Sirianni's a better coach than Belichick. Okay? Stafford, I like, Morrow, Stafford has an under 5. Let me take a look at that. That's a good one, because you know what? Everyone always brings up Stafford. Let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at that for a second. Matthew Stafford stats. Let me see something here. Matthew Stafford's one loss and what his one-loss record is as a starting quarterback in the NFL. He's 98-107-1. Yeah, that's some dude. He's 98 wins, 107 losses, and a tie. Yeah, he's lived up to it. Sills, he won a Super Bowl. I know. So did the great Joe Flacco. So did Brad Johnson. So did Trent Dilfer. Let's be careful here before you start talking about greatness. I think he spins the ball great. I'm a fan of Stafford. I like him. But let's not get crazy. He's not a Hall of Fame player. Hall of Fame players don't have 98-107-1 wins, one-loss record. I mean, let's not get crazy here. 98 wins, 107 losses, and 1 tie. Are you putting that in the Hall of Fame? Are you? Is Matthew Stafford a Hall of Famer? Is Matthew Stafford a Hall of Famer? He's a Hall of Famer. No, he's not. No, he's not. Easily He's won 98 games and lost 107. How in the world are you saying he's a Hall of Famer when he's lost more games than won? No quarterback goes into the Hall of Fame with an under 500 record except Namath. That's it. He has a ring. Congratulations. Things can be misleading is my point here. Okay? He'll be considered? No, he won't. I'd put Phil Simms in. I'd put Phil Simms in. The basis of an Hall of Fame quarterback is to win more than you lose. Is Nick Foles a Hall of Famer? No, but Nick Foles had a Hall of Fame moment. And maybe one of the greatest moments of all time. Stafford's better than Namath? Really? So you think, Greasy, if Namath played with the rules of today, where you couldn't mug wide receivers and you couldn't hit the quarterback, and Namath wouldn't have the catastrophic injuries that he had in his career because you could beat the shit out of them, you think Namath wouldn't flourish? Namath would throw for 10,000 yards today. He was the first quarterback to throw for $4,000. That record held up until the 90s or till the 80s. I think Fouts broke it. That thing held up for like 30 years. That record held up. Nobody threw for 4,000 yards. Namath did. He was the first. Then Marino threw for $5,000 in a 14-game schedule, mind you. Namath had a low percentage. Tone always brings that great stat up. Okay? You got to go to the era. Harder to complete pass. Hey, when you can mug a wide, get this. You see why people, Greasy was low percentage. Greasy, do you think you have a better chance of completing a pass in 1969 or 1970 when you can hang all over a dude up and down the field? Or in today's game where you can't touch him, pass interference is called at a regular basis, and you can't touch him for the first 5 yards off the line of scrimmage? Do you think it's easier to complete passes today? So you're telling me Baker Mayfield is better than Namath because he had a better completion percentage in today's NFL? Fair assessment. Okay? It's hard to do that, though. Let me get back on topic here. My problem with Jalen Hurts right now is not with Jalen Hurts. It's with the people around him. Man, how could you go from the 22-year by doing everything so right? And so far since that Super Bowl in Arizona, you have done nothing right. Give me a positive. What has the organization done right since that game in February where they lose by 3 points to Kansas City? What is drafting a Jalen Carter? Drafting a Jalen Carter. Absolutely. Trading for DeAndre Swift? Look, I don't really think he brought enough to the team. I thought he was okay. Okay? That's right, Barb. The Lamar Jackson way doesn't win Super Bowls? No. Well, no, Barb. Well, then what'd you pay for? 47 attempts? They got to that AFC title game because of the way he played with his legs also. How many yards did Lamar Jackson throw for? 3,100? You think he got to a 14-win season because he threw the ball? They didn't have a 1,000-yard receiver. They completely went and played Jalen Hurts 2023 football in that AFC title game. Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson, if they're going to win a Super Bowl, they've got to win a Super Bowl playing the style that they played all year for Lamar and Hurts in 22. Because that's who those two dudes are. They're not drop back guys that are just going to win from the pocket. You limit yourself. And you limit the ability that got you the 50 million. You're not paid because you're a passer. You're paid because you're electric. I don't like the 23 version of Hurts. You know, it's funny. Tone and I last year, and until I heard Dick Vermeil talking on WIP, Dick Vermeil says it all the time. Why are they limiting him in running? You run that guy as much as you possibly can. Don't take one of his greatest assets and maybe his greatest asset away from him. He gets hurt, It's what it is. That's his style of play. Hey, get this. Steve Young, if you add it all up, how many years did Steve Young start for the 49ers? What was it, 9? I think there's like a 17-year career. But if you look at it, Steve Young ended his career. Do you guys remember why Steve Young ended his career? Do you know why he ended it? It was concussions that knocked Young out of the game because he started acquiring these concussions at the end of his career because of his dual threat that he had. Steve Young won a Super Bowl because of dual threat. Steve Young got to the Super Bowl because of dual threat. He wasn't Joe Montana. He wasn't just going to sit back there and pick teams apart. And get this, Bill Walsh knew that. They had designed run plays. You guys remember that run he had against Minnesota where he went for 48 yards or 54 yards that he had in the playoff game, that he ran it in? It was one of the most electric playoff runs of all time. He looked like Kaepernick. And this guy had the highest completion percentage of any quarterback of all time when he retired. Okay? Flexing goes, that's not going to work. He won a Super Bowl. He's in the Hall of Fame. What do you mean it's not going to work? It did work. You guys are more concerned about Hurts playing 15 years. I don't care if Hurts plays 15 years. I could care less, and so should you not care. You play 9 years, you deliver 2 Super Bowls, you end up having a catastrophic injury, you'll leave Philly a legend. This is about Super Bowls, not about length of career. Steve Young's total career starts amount to a 9-year career. Total starts in San Francisco alone amounted to a 7-year career. This guy had a 7-year career. And get this, that's a Tone, that's kind of where I got it from with Hurts. Having a dual threat quarterback and taking half of his game away is basically asking him to play with one arm tied behind your back. Do you guys understand? Remember what I used to tell you about high ceiling for dual threat guys? Lamar Jackson doesn't have a high ceiling. Well, maybe they're trying to do that, but he doesn't have a high ceiling. The only reason that I think that guy in Buffalo may have a high ceiling is because he's 6'6". Okay? And it's maybe the only reason he does. Playing that style of football. Hurts doesn't have a long career, but what they're doing is they're coddling him and protecting him to try to have one and try to have him as the face. He's never going to win that way. No, I'll take that back. He's going to win, but not it. Seals, he got close. Right. Playing his style of football. This year, you didn't get close. You were, in theory, never close. His style of play this year, you were never close. Yeah, but 10-2. 17 games and a catastrophe meltdown at the end of the year. You were never close. Tell the truth. You were never close. That's for them to be thinking this. And then you bring the coach back. Let me make my position clear as well. The last thing I want to do is neuter Jalen Hurts. I want him to play his game. But what I also want for him to improve as a passer, and I believe that is possible. Okay, well, don't let that be the centerpiece, though. Improving as a passer. And I know I get what you're saying, Tone. But what I'm telling you is, okay, improving as a passer. Mahomes is still improving as a passer. He's improving reading defenses. Okay? Brady worked on his game all the time. That can't be the centerpiece. It can't be this. Well, I want him to stop running and let's work on his passing. You're taking steps backwards that way, which he did. Don't you understand that's why he took steps backwards? Because he wasn't the dual threat. He took a step backwards this year because they're trying to make him into something he's not. Instead of letting him continue running and bringing the passing, they're rushing this process, I guess is what I'm saying. They're completely rushing the process. Josh Allen needs 2 receivers. Stephon Diggs did shit up there this year. And the rest of those guys were okay. Gabe Davis and them guys. I mean, there were times this season that Stephon Diggs, I watched him in football games. He was completely a non-factor. I think he's overpaid. And no wonder June Wonder going to move on from him. They're $44 million in the hole. He's not on that team. Unless there's some type of restructure, which I don't know he's worth it. I mean, if I'm the Buffalo Bills, I might want to go into the draft the same way Green Bay did and get me some wide receivers and go cheaper down there and try to get myself, for my quarterback, an opportunity to have some younger players and develop some younger players. I think these big-time wide receivers are overhyped and overrated. You're going to pay CeeDee Lamb $30 million, and you're not going to have another guy on your roster because the Cowboys are $14 million in the hole. What's the point of paying CeeDee Lamb that money when I could get 2 quality guys and I could move the chains and win it? Why would I do that? Got to pay my quarterback $50. These teams are not going to be cap smart like the Eagles are. There's kudos to Howie, but they're not going to be cap smart because the owners don't want to give the money up front to players. That's the problem here. And I'll tell you what, it's kudos to Jeffrey Lurie. Jeffrey Lurie went like this. Here, Jalen. You know what he basically did? Here, Jalen, here's $50 million. You could pay me back in time. Instead of doing this, hey, here's some money here. I'll get you on the back end of your contract. That's why when teams get to that backside of that contract, they cut players. That was always the way. You sign a $3 million contract, it starts out with $250,000. I'm talking my time. Base, then $300,000, then $400,000. And you know what owners would do? By the time you got to your 3rd year, they cut you. And you didn't get the 4th year, 5th year money. So they were never obligated to pay you. They always stuck it to the players that way. What Jeffrey Lurie did was, here's $50 million. You can pay me back with your performance. And then when you turn into performance like 23, you got to do this shit. Well, wait a minute here. Wait a minute. How to get my return on investment here? Okay? To be good team, you need an all-pro at every position. Like what? The Patriots on offense? Hey, during the Brady time, won Super Bowls. Name me one Pro Bowler. As an offensive skilled guy outside of Brady. Gronk and who? And please, no Moss. Okay, Gronk. Name me a Pro Bowl wide receiver in Kansas City. Name me one. Kansas City. Can't. All right. God, we have a lot to hit on here. I'm just taken by the fact that you have players coming out now that are just completely against this. He's got a lot of work to do, in my opinion. He does. All right. Hit the like button. Hour number 2. Don't forget, Tone is going to join us at 3:30. We will talk to Philly Godfather. By the way, he's at Radio Row there in Vegas. We will talk to our friend. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.